to yet another video where I'm describing the homework packets for my financial accounting class. This is always fun. So today we're going to look at non-current assets. So my disclaimer and copyright notice. The information and opinions in this presentation are for myself, or basically are those of myself only and not my employers or affiliated organizations, including but not limited to Irvine Valley College and the South Orange County Community College District. Presentation is for educational purposes only and does not constitute any legal or accounting advice whatsoever. This presentation is copyright 2008 to 2025 by Bennett Tchaikovsky. All rights are reserved. Any distribution is strictly prohibited. Note that this presentation will refer to companies and other parties or the third parties, and I do not claim any copyright that belongs to those third parties. Okay, so what are non-current assets? So it's those items that are giving us multiple years of life, mainly going to be in the form of property, plant, and equipment. When we're going through and looking at this, we also have some other non-current assets, including intangible assets, right? So those are going to be assets such as like trademarks, patent, copyrights. I'm also going to touch on some other topics in this particular chapter. Also looking at, well, when do we capitalize a cost or basically an improvement or a betterment? And then when is it going to be repairs and maintenance expense? So let's just go through and take a look at this over here. So this is the homework packet basically for this particular segment. Again, we're working down the balance sheet. Essentially over here is we're looking at what are the different areas with property, plant, and equipment. So in my earlier homework packet where we were dealing with adjusting entries, we learned about depreciation expense. Specifically, we learned about straight line depreciation, meaning that how do we, when we buy equipment, how do we basically take that cost and basically allocate it over the asset's useful life in the form of expense? How do we go through and expense it? Most important thing, we can never basically take depreciation below the salvage value. Very, very important to remember. So what we're going to be looking at is in this particular chapter is basically, well, what are the other different types of depreciation, or what are the other types of depreciation methods, including double declining balance, also going through and including units of production. So we're going to examine those. But again, the key is you can never depreciate beyond salvage value, meaning that my acquisition cost less my accumulated depreciation, a contra asset account is going to give me my, just call this equipment, is going to give me equipment net. And this equipment net can never be less than the salvage value. Ultimately, I'm going to depreciate this up to the salvage value, but I can never go through and go beyond the salvage value, meaning I can't take too much. I cannot over depreciate the assets. So coming over here, looking at this basically part here. So we've got some straight line, we have some double declining balance, we have some units of production. Then we get into asset sales, right? And this is the way that you want to kind of go through and approach these questions is we're going to take the depreciation up until the date of the sale, and then we're going to go through and take that asset off of our books. And so when you go to these questions, there is one journal entry that you're going to be using to basically record the sale of equipment. And you'll go through and learn that. We're also going to do a little bit of, well, what happens when we look at a change in estimates? Do we go back to the future and restate old things? The answer is going to be no. If we're changing either our salvage value, estimated useful life, estimated number of units to produce, those are by their nature estimates. We're going to basically take that new estimate and move forward. Over here too is when we're looking at capitalizing improvements versus repairs and maintenance expense. At what point in time do we just expense items versus when do we need to capitalize that cost, meaning it's a betterment, it's going to make it last a longer period of time. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go into what exactly is goodwill, meaning when we acquire a business, we're oftentimes going to be acquiring it for more than the book value of the assets, or for the fair value, I should call it more than the fair value of the assets. So how do we go through and record goodwill? What you'll also see too is we're going to also learn about how we deal with intangible assets such as copyright, trademarks, patents. How does that go through and look like? Now, one other thing to kind of remember that I don't go through in this lower division financial accounting class, which are leases, right? And if you're taking a class and you're looking at leases, this is typically something that is meant for intermediate accounting. When I sign a lease that is greater than 1 year, I have to record an asset and a liability on my books, even though I'm just using the property that might be equipment, might be a building, whatever it might be. I don't own it, even though I'm using it. I have to disclose it on my financial statements. That's not something I'm going to teach here. It's something I'm going to teach to you in intermediate accounting. Also, what are the kind of the importance parts over here of looking at cash versus accrual basis? So you can clearly see when I wrote this is when The Tiger King came out on Netflix. Great show, always entertaining. So when you look at this, how does cash versus accrual work? And this is cash basis as well. I record revenues when I receive the cash. I record expenses when I pay the cash versus accrual, which is what we've been doing this entire semester, or during this entire time you've been taking this class with me here virtually. Now, the other one over here is, this is also kind of a review, but again, I had you prepare a classified balance sheet basically for the second homework packet, which was doing the adjusting entries. But now, since we've kind of added in allowance for doubtful accounts, we've added in, you've already seen accumulated depreciation on the equipment, but we also have patents, we have goodwill. And so what I'm trying to kind of go through here and do is kind of revisit some of these different items to have you go through and do it. Basically, just prepare that classified balance sheet again as a way of review. Coming over here, we've got double declining balance. Again, more additional practice questions, right? So I'm writing these up over here specifically to help you with more practice as you're kind of going through and learning it. So again, the more you're practicing, the better, maybe in a little bit of a different type of formatting. So hopefully this goes through and helps. In any event, I want to thank you for being here with me today, and also over here too, just really quickly before I say goodbye, there is, I wouldn't call these a shortened video series, but there are a lot of different videos that are down here. Also in terms of problem walkthroughs, right? So all the questions over here that I'm giving to you, you're going to have a problem walkthrough for it. And as always, if you don't understand a concept, I have an AI application right over here, and I say yes, and then it's like they're going to ask me, so what question you want to ask, and then what is units of production depreciation. I'll just ask that question, and so then right over here, there you go. So this will hopefully help you if there's something you don't understand going through it. Also, I do believe I have overviews of this over here, like an overview of PP&E. What you can also find too is that if you're looking through this, basically PowerPoint slides for property, plant, and equipment, and you should be able to view these basically from this over here, is to kind of go through and understand how these different parts work from more of a theoretical side. So in any event, this is kind of how everything is laid out for this particular homework packet. I want to thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, helps out the channel, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a great day.